MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. We got a lot to cover today. Oh, man. I can't wait to get on the air and start going over the news because there's just so much amazing news to cover. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, okay? All right. Right here. Oh, this is just amazing times that we're in. I mean, we're just in absolutely amazing times like we've never experienced before. Well, we have the greatest president, right? Donald Trump in office, so that'll do it every time. And I'm going to pin the call-in number. Right now. Okay. Oh, yeah, there's some audio I got to queue up. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and we'll be live on the air in a few minutes. I'm just queuing up some audio. Okay, there we go. All right, got all that queued up. What an exciting day. Luxembourg, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oh yeah, this is just a great time. Now, when you're with the screen, when you're watching with the green screen behind me, just a reminder. And if you guys in the chat later on could tell people that join in about this, because I know it gets confusing for people that are new sometimes. But the green screen background that you see here, this is kind of like a behind the scenes stream. So on this stream, you can hear and see me. You can hear the callers that call in, and you certainly can call me on the air. But if you want to see the articles that I go over, or hear the audio sound bites, or see the videos that I play, you have to go to my other stream, which I'll start when I go live, which is in about 4 minutes. So if you guys in the chat, when people ask about that, if you could let people know, I'd appreciate it. It gets frustrating and people get pissed, but it's just the way it is. The green screen effects are on the other stream that I'll start when I go live on the air. Which will be in 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. Less than 4 minutes now. Yep. And there we go. All right, there we go. Oh. My daughter wanted to borrow I have so many microphones. My daughter wants to borrow a microphone. I don't have time to dig one out right now. I have so many microphones, and I can't find an extra one. Unbelievable. Welcome, everyone. Yes, if you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. There we go. Where is my Allen wrench? To tighten the microphone stand, I have to use this Allen wrench. Oh, about 2 minutes we'll be live. In 2 minutes. No, my daughter does not have a website. Oh, yeah. You're all welcome to call in. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. I got a lot to cover. A lot. It's one of those days. It's just a ton of news. That's the way it works. About 2 minutes we'll be live. All right, make sure you subscribe if you're new. A little more than 90 seconds we'll be live. It's early. It's 3 minutes after 6 a.m. on East Coast Mar-a-Lago time. Oh, it's almost time. I lost track. There we go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and can you believe it is Monday already? You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Isn't that something? 49 years. We are there. All right, we got a lot to cover on the program today. A lot has happened over the weekend, and I mean a lot. I'm going to start, though, with this story, which is a miraculous story. It's something that they've been saying my entire life could not be done, and President Trump did it. And CNN is reporting this. This is from a White House press release, but I'll play the CNN story in a moment. Negative net migration for the first time in at least in at least 50 years. The United States is on track to see negative net migration for the first time in at least 5 decades, according to CNN, as President Trump fulfills his promise to end the migrant invasion and deport criminal illegals. That's right. This is really a beautiful thing. Let me play this. This is CNN. By the way, I just want to go back. I just heard this. Did he say the Biden administration? Yeah, he did say the Biden administration, Mr. CNN guy here. Uh-oh. Oh boy, they're not supposed to say that out loud, you liberals over there. He's praising Trump and called it the Biden administration. Holy smokes. I didn't catch that when I first heard that. That's hilarious. All right, well, that's the biggest story that CNN has reported since the Gulf War began in 1991. The Biden administration. Holy smokes. Breaking news on CNN. That's what Rush Limbaugh called one of those accidental cases of journalism. The Biden administration. CNN reporting. Oh, man. Live. You got to love live. But I love it. Oh, my goodness. That's so cool. That's so cool. You know, is this kind of like a hostage video with this guy on CNN where he's letting us know that he's on our side? But anyway, back to the main story, though. The lowest level, this illegal immigration has ended. It's ended. I disagree with the migration. It's illegal immigration, but I don't care. I'm not going to mince words with them. They mean the illegal immigrants, that we have negative net illegals coming into this country for the first time in pretty much any of our lifetimes. In at least 50 years. It's been more than that probably, because we didn't have anything like this ever happen before. And, you know, shutting down the southern border is just an amazing thing that President Trump has done. And it's something that they said could not be done. And if you remember what CNN refers to as the Biden administration, they were trying to pass a big bill. Remember this? Oh, we could shut down this whole thing at the border if we would just pass this quadrillion-dollar bill. We don't have the resources. We need to pass this quadrillion-dollar bill. If you just remember all that with the Biden administration. So it really shows the government already has all the resources it needs to do all this stuff. All right, it doesn't need any new bill or anything else. That was just a way to kick the can down the road, or just steal money for the donors and themselves and the government. And the wall's not even completed yet. And those of you that are longtime listeners of this program, before Trump came on the scene, long before Trump came down the escalator, before any of that, I'm talking about in the George W. Bush times. Everyone who did shows like this talked about the border. And Steve and I never talked about the southern border. Not that it was not an important issue, not that we thought what was happening down there should be allowed. The reason we talked about this on the air, because sometimes people in the audience would get frustrated with us. Hey, you're not talking about the border. What's going on? And what we told people, and there was a reason why we didn't talk about the border back then. And this is, again, before any of it, we're talking about the early 2000s. And we would tell people that would call in, giving us grief about it. The reason we don't talk about it is there's no one in Washington who's going to do anything about it. Even these Republicans that are telling you, and this was after 9/11, right? The post 9/11 world. Even these Republicans that are talking about shutting it down, they don't mean it. No one's going to do anything about it. So to discuss it's a waste of time. And then Trump came down the escalator and we had somebody that we knew would do something about it, and he did. And here it's been shut down completely for a couple of months now, and we have negative net migration, something that no one ever thought would happen in this country. You know, this country can do so much more if we didn't have these corrupt politicians, these idiot politicians. I wanted to play this for you because this fits into it. This is an ER nurse out of Los Angeles, and she's an LA ER nurse. And, you know, she works those 12-hour shifts. She just got off of her 12-hour emergency room shift at an emergency room in Los Angeles, California. And she made this video. Listen. Okay, I almost feel like this nurse is kind of like a honey trap to bring illegals to Tom Homan at emergency rooms in Southern California. If you've ever been, I've been to an emergency room in Los Angeles once, and I remember it was at UCLA in Torrance. And when I walked in there, this was in the 90s. I was with my wife, and my wife was having surgery. She was having a procedure in that hospital, and we had to enter through the emergency room. It was like I had been transported to an emergency room in Mexico. We were the only gringos there. It was very strange. And the emergency rooms are empty because of the deportations, obviously, the great work of Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, and our greatest president, Donald Trump. And did she say 4 patients an hour? How many did she say in the shift? I mean, 4 patients max every hour, so no more than 4 per hour. How much? Think about how much money that's saving, right? The government, the federal government, everything else. You know, the illegals have been such a drain on so many aspects of our system. And one of them is the emergency room, using it as a free clinic. It's free to them. All the tests, all the scans, they go in with a runny nose, they're getting CAT scans. And this is a good thing. You know, what type of financial burden have the illegals in every aspect of our nation been sucking us dry with? This is a big one. And no more overtime for the ER nurses in Los Angeles. They don't need them. And, you know, nurses, they work these 12-hour shifts. So they work 3 or 4 days in a hospital. And a lot of nurses work in 2 hospitals, right? They work in 1, 2, or 3 days, like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and they work in another one 3 or 4 days a week. They're going to get their hours cut back. Sorry, nurses, but you know, doesn't this seem like a honeypot? Like she's like, "Come on in, it's okay," and then boom, illegals check in and they end up in Alcatraz. I don't know, but this is all good stuff. No more traffic jams during rush hour traffic in LA. The emergency rooms are empty because the illegals aren't there using them as free clinics for stubbed toes and runny noses. It's absolutely amazing what Donald Trump has done. And now with zero net migration, these are things we never thought possible. And Donald Trump has done the impossible time and time again. All right, well, if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. I want to tell you about an amazing special going on right now. Listen to this. Get this. You can get the My Slippers. I have the My Slippers. Steve Kane has the My Slippers. They're wonderful. You can get the My Slippers regular. Listen to this closely. This is for a very limited time. You can get the My Slippers regularly priced at $149.98. That's what I paid for mine. You can get them now for just $39.98 when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. That is a savings of $110. You have to go to our special MyPillow page. This is kind of almost like a secret special going on. You got to go to mypillow.com/Kane. mypillow.com/Kane, Kane. Of course, they have multiple colors for men and women. They have all the sizes. mypillow.com/Kane, Kane. Go right now while they still have your size in stock, because these are going to sell like crazy. Again, the My Slippers, regularly $149.98, just $39.98, $110 off at mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, when you use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Take advantage of that. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by, guys. Stand by. Mm-hmm. Oh, how exciting. It is exciting. Mm-hmm. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get back to some of this stuff when we get back. Great news about those. So if you're out in Southern California and you have to, unfortunately, go to the emergency room, it's not going to be jam-packed. Maximum 4 patients an hour. Holy smokes. It's like no waiting. They should run ads on TV and radio out there in Los Angeles. If you've been avoiding the ER because it's busy, it's not busy anymore. Thanks to Tom Holman's great work. Come on in. That is awesome. Thank you all who checked out my vlog. I reactivated my second YouTube channel where I do vlogging. And I am, this weekend, I'm going to, I don't know if I'll finish it this weekend. It might take a little while, but I'm going to, my next video is going to be an incredible documentary that I'm just, I had a great idea to do. And you won't want to miss it. In fact, I have a few documentaries I'm going to be doing on that channel. Main Street Moments is my other YouTube channel. Main Street Moments. Check it out. Make sure that you subscribe. The first one, there's a few documentaries I've wanted to make for a long time. And I'm going to start the first one this weekend. We'll be back in less than a minute. Less than a minute. Some things there are vlogs, and then other things will be documentaries, like, my documentary on the golf course assassination attempt of the president. It'll be that style documentary on something, but I'm going to put it on my other channel, not this one. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It is Monday, August 4th, 2025. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Isn't that crazy? 49 years. Very exciting stuff. Call us on hold. You stand by. We're celebrating this great work of President Trump. Negative net migration into the United States for the first time in at least 60 years, according to CNN, which is nice. They hate Trump, and even they're reporting the good news. All right, we'll take some calls, and of course, Mike, make sure the delay is in place. You know how it goes here. You know, things are going so badly for the left. They're just becoming unglued, and the liberals that have been calling this show lately have just been losing it. And I've heard from some people that said, hey, stop taking these calls from these liberals, Brian. Well, you know, we take all of our calls screenless and unvetted, right? We could have someone screen the calls. We don't. That's just kind of been a staple of the program for since I've been doing it. So when you call in, I just put you on hold, and we don't know who's on hold. So those of you that don't want to hear all these liberals, you know, you conservatives, well, the phone number works for you guys too, right? It's you're all welcome to call in. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the presidential fitness and tests thing that Trump put back into order.
Yeah.
Why would he invite Lawrence Taylor to that?
I have no idea. Why, you got a problem with that?
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor is a convicted sex offender.
Oh, I don't know.
He raped a 16-year-old child.
Oh, I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it. But it seems that you're kind of obsessed with such issues, as are a lot of people that hate Trump. I'm not quite sure why. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Yeah, you're on. Oh, hold on a second. I'll take another call here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Are you tired of the winning yet?
Oh, no. I'll never get tired. I'll never get tired of that.
That's right. And here's the deal. That first video you showed earlier today, earlier on in the show, it's basically a hostage video.
Mm-hmm. Which one? The one of the CNN or the one of the nurse?
No. The one with the guy in it that said the Biden administration.
Oh, the guy at CNN. That was a hot. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean he probably slipped that in, and they didn't know he was going to slip that in on them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And you got what's his name, Harry Enton there, and you got Scott. What's his name there?
It's Scott Jennings. Yeah, I think that guy on CNN that said the Biden administration, I don't think that was a slip. I agree with you. He wanted us to know that he'd like to work at Fox or Newsmax, but he's locked in over at CNN for whatever reason, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The woman, you're right about that woman. That smells of Tom Homan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The woman.
Yep.
You know, I mean, she's not a white woman.
You know, ERs are no longer safe spaces for illegals to go hang out in and loiter. You know, there was some illegals a week or two ago in Southern California who were running from ICE and went into some, I don't know, walk-in healthcare facility of some sort, and they thought that was a safe space where, like, you know, where illegals could hang out in safety, and ICE went in there and arrested them. So, you know, that's why I'm wondering, is this nurse, this ER nurse, is that a honeypot? Is she trying to attract illegals to the Tom Homan ER?
And look, here's the deal with the thing out there in California. It's drawing a bunch of, you know, with the ICE raids in California, it's drawing a bunch of media things, but it's allowing us all the rest of the country to do all the deportations without the media.
Yeah.
You know, paying much attention. You know?
That's right. All right. Good to talk to you, Mike in Louisiana. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
for Kansas City.
Yep.
I was calling about Trump's presidential fitness and test.
What, and Lawrence Taylor? Lawrence Taylor, is that it? You want to talk about Lawrence Taylor? Yeah.
Why would he invite somebody that raped a 6-year-old child?
Well, when it comes, I don't follow. I do have a vague recollection of the Lawrence Taylor story, now that you've jogged my mind a little bit. But it's been a long time. And when it comes to the world of sports, those of you that are regular listeners, I know as much about sports as these liberals know about news and politics that call the program. I don't know a lot about it. I don't follow athletes. But my recollection with Lawrence Taylor, now, and I stand to be corrected, not by you, but by others in the audience. My vague recollection is that he was soliciting a prostitute, and the prostitute turned out to be underage. That's my recollection. So I'm not approving of either of those actions. However, it's not like an Epstein groomer of underage girls. He picked up a prostitute. However, I don't know how he got the prostitute. I do vaguely remember the story. I don't know what the context of how he met the prostitute, and she turned out to be underage. Not that excuses anything. Don't misunderstand me. But it's different than what you're alleging.
But he is a registered?
I know you like saying that. It's almost like your kink is saying those things. Have you noticed? By the way, it's 1 call per day. And this is your second call. You call me again, you're gonna be. It's 1 call per day, and I addressed it. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's almost like your kink is saying those things.
The greatest show ever on the radio, playing in the background. You hear that? That's a great show. You're on the air. Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hello. My name is Desmond. I'm from Canada.
Oh, here we go. This could be the first dump of the day. You're building up to use some profanities or something. I guess the kids are out of school in Canada. What's on your mind, Canada?
I was just wondering.
Here we go.
Why you support Trump?
Because he is the greatest pro-American president this country has ever had. I mean, there's a lot of very specific reasons. Today I opened up the show. He shut down our southern border from illegal immigration. We have 2 months of not one illegal crossing into the United States. And today it's being reported by CNN we have negative net illegal immigration into this country. So that's one example. Yesterday, he's talking about eliminating income taxes for everyone in the United States making under $200,000 a year. That's a good thing. There's a lot of reasons why I support Trump.
The big question I wanted to ask you is...
Here we go.
Why do you think that he was so connected to Epstein?
See, because he's not. Because he's not.
Hold on.
No, you hold on. No, he's not. No, he's not.
He was sued in the year 2000.
No, we're not talking about. Listen. It is not open phones. It is not. Excuse me. It is not open phones. See what this is? Didn't I tell you when this Epstein thing broke? What liberals are going to do every time they call is try to get you to talk about Epstein. Have you noticed that? And we're not going to play into that here. Okay. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. That's going to be their tactic. And you know who you can thank for that? You know who you can thank for doing that? You can thank Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, right? Steve Bannon, and a couple of others for making such a big deal about it. They gave the liberals the response to everything is going to be, well, what about Jeffrey Epstein? What about Epstein this, Epstein that? That's going to be their response. Thank you, Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Steve Bannon and Tucker. And there's some new stuff on Tucker that I want to talk about. But first, I want to talk about Tom Leaporta at Leaporta Roofing. Oh, man. It is hurricane rainy season. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you got a leak in your roof. And when those winds come, I know it's been dry the last couple of weeks, but believe me, the rains, they are a-coming. And when we get a hurricane or tropical storm force winds and you've got a loose shingle or tile, man, oh man, you've got a problem. Because what those winds are always looking for, they're like a home invader. They're looking for an entryway into your home. And that way is that loose shingle or tile from that wet spot on your ceiling. And once that happens, It's off to Kansas with your roof and you during the storm. Give Tom Leaporta at Leaporta Roofing a call. He can handle a job of any size, whether it's one building or one single-family home or an HOA that has over 300 units. He works with every type of roofing material. He works with every type of structure, too, residential, commercial, municipal. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Here's his number, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LeaportaRoofing.com. We'll be right back.
Whether you're on Medicare right now or turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. The number's also in the description of the episode. You're going to talk to a real person. They're going to walk you through everything step by step. No gimmicks, just real help. Because the right plan can save thousands. And the number 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Get your Medicare questions answered free. 805-754-3033. Your health and your wallet is safe.
All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. Oh, boy, oh, boy. We'll be back in just over 1 minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Before we get back to the issue, there's some other great stuff with Trump. We got so much to cover today. I want to mention something on the air to our local audience. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I love Fort Lauderdale. I think Fort Lauderdale is the best city in Florida. We have the best beach. I love Fort Lauderdale. My mother lives in the house in Fort Lauderdale that I grew up in. I love Fort Lauderdale. And, but I moved away, not too far away, but I moved away, from Fort Lauderdale over 20 years ago. I went, my daughter who's moved back to Florida from Los Angeles, over the weekend I took my daughter out to lunch, and she had a friend of hers who from California. And, so when you have people that come into town and you want them to enjoy and see the great Florida life. And Florida, Fort Lauderdale in particular, which is got the best beach in the state of Florida, is called, its sister city is Venice because of the great waterways we have in Fort Lauderdale. And so I took my daughter and her friend, who's never really experienced Florida, we went out to lunch, and I thought, okay, I got a great place to go to lunch where you can really enjoy and see Florida. Went to Southport Raw Bar in Fort Lauderdale off 17th Street Causeway. Any of you guys know? It's been there since I can remember. And I love Southport Raw Bar. I've not been there in a long, long time, and the food was just as good as it always was, and the prices were unbelievably low. But at Southport Raw Bar, they have great food. It's a Fort Lauderdale landmark. You can eat inside or outside. I go outside, and it's on the water. It's on the great Fort Lauderdale Intercoastal Waterway. That is beautiful, the Venice of Florida. I go out on the dock behind the restaurant. What do I see? The most ugly building I've ever seen in my life along the Fort Lauderdale Waterway. I'm at the back of any of you guys over at go to Southport see this? I'm standing on the dock behind the Southport. Now it was 100 degrees, so we ate inside because it was like 100 degrees. But the waterway on one side, if you're facing out to the water, on the left it has all those nice condos and stuff that are like from the 60s and the 70s. But on the right side, on the waterway, the ugliest, most industrial building you could imagine is there. I don't know, is that a storage unit? And it's many stories high. Is it a parking garage? I don't know what it is. But what corrupt Fort Lauderdale, Broward County politician approved that? Who puts up an ugly box, multi-story industrial building on the beautiful waterway and blocks off the view of you can't see the sunrise, it blocks out the beach view? Who approved that? I bet you whoever owns the Southport was ticked off when they built that building. But Ron DeSantis, he says Broward County is the most corrupt county in Florida, and he's doing a Doge audit of Broward County. It's a corrupt county with creeps that are running the county in the city of Fort Lauderdale. If any of you are familiar with the Southport, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I couldn't believe it. It's disgusting. Corruption. All right, now let's get back to the national politics. So the jobs numbers come out on Friday, and they're less than the estimates. If anybody knows what that god-awful building is, blocking the view of the coast, of the beach, of the sky on the Intercoastal Waterway behind the Southport Raw Bar, let me know. What a disgusting... Whoever approved that is a real piece of work. It really they really are. I'd like to know who was. I just got a text from a friend of mine. They said it's a boat storage and a boat building facility. I don't know. So it's just, oh my goodness, awful. It spoils the view, the great water view that you used to have at the Southport Raw Bar. Anyway, let me get back to this. So the jobs numbers come out on Friday, and they're less than projected. Now, I knew right away there was something up with that. It just, the economy is boom. Now, if you were doing new jobs for illegal, see, how can the job numbers be down? Donald Trump has created so many jobs. Why is that? Because they've deported so many, if not just because of the great economic deals that he's made. I mean, he's made these incredible economic deals, that are creating jobs in every imaginable sector and high-paying jobs and such. But just if it wasn't even for that, just with the deportations that's going on, he's creating God only knows how many jobs, because these illegals that were taking all kinds of, not just construction and labor work, illegals take all kinds of jobs, including Uber and Lyft workers. Remember that Uber driver that missed the exit in Southern California, ended up in Mexico, couldn't get back in the country? I was talking about that last week. So just on the deportations, Trump has created I don't know how many jobs. So I knew the numbers stunk. And then we find out that the woman at the Bureau of Labor Statistics is a crook. She manipulated the job numbers right before the election to show an increase with Biden and Kamala to try to help Kamala, and she deflated the numbers this time. Now, President Trump has fired her. Here's the president speaking in front of the brand new Marine One helicopter, which is massive. The other one was big. I can't imagine how big this one is in person. But here's President Trump talking about this lady he fired. Yeah, part of the law, like a lawfare thing to undermine Trump. So here's my question to you. And this is a question, I am as serious as a heart attack about this. This woman, we know of 2 instances that she manipulated the job numbers, both to try to hurt President Trump. One, before the election, she artificially inflated the numbers to try to give Kamala some help right before the election. And she deflated the numbers that came out on Friday, both instances to hurt Trump. Now, the job numbers have a major impact on the economy of the United States. Every aspect of the economy is affected by the jobs numbers. And I cannot put a dollar amount on it. Okay? Maybe somebody in the audience, maybe you've seen one of these financial experts on television talk about this. But when the job numbers come out and they're below the expected projection, it causes a devaluation across the economy. A lot, stocks lose money, other things lose value, and it cost her cooking the books in a negative way for Friday's job numbers. It could have cost the devaluation of billions with a B dollars in the U.S. economy. And I don't think that's a stretch. Do you guys agree with that? Or not? Also, she did it to try to hurt the commander-in-chief, the President of the United States. So here's my question to you. If it's true, now Trump fired her and said she did it and that she cooked the books and everything else. Others are reporting this as well. Is she a criminal? Is this labor statistician, if she purposely deflated the numbers, should she be arrested and charged with crimes? Is this a white-collar crime, a financial crime? Or is it an act of treason? You know, if you were working for the Bureau of Labor Statistics and you deflate the numbers, which has a devastating effect, I have no doubt in my mind that billions of dollars were lost because of her phony numbers. And she did it to attack the President of the United States. Do you believe that she committed treason? And I'm serious about that. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Now, Robert Reich, who was the labor secretary for Bill Clinton, he's a liberal commie. Here he is on MSNBC commenting on President Trump firing this labor statistician. Mm. Now, on her part or his? Robert Reich talking about he thinks Trump's committing treason. What, against himself? Robert Reich, he's the president. He is the government. Stupid. He's committing treason. But Obama's spying on the Trump term, first term, that's not treason. This woman is trying to harm the government of the United States. And, you know, I'll tell you another thing. What she did, in a way, is economic terrorism. You know, Al-Qaeda, one of the major reasons when they attack America, they attack in New York City, they did it twice, the World Trade Center was attacked twice, was to have a negative impact on the U.S. economy, because that's where the economic sector, the Wall Street, the stock market's located. So if she did something to purposely affect the economy in a negative way and undermine the President of the United States, is this economic terrorism she committed? On top of treason. I say yes on both. What are your thoughts? Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. We'll be back in less than a minute. All right, we are back on this Monday, MAGA Monday morning. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, beginning, well, it started on Friday, but this is the first full week of celebrating 49 years of the Steve Kane Show on the radio. All right, let's take another call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Tom Rumbach. I'm from Michigan. I'm an American and a trucker.
Okay. What's on your mind?
And, well, I think that all these minions, they need to be held accountable. I think that they need to put the fear of God back into these people and put in the prison, not allowed to resign and run away from their crimes, because I see this all the time.
You're talking about like I was talking before the break of this woman who was making up the labor numbers. What would you put her in prison for? What would be the charge?
The thing is, there's so many laws on the books that there's got to be something.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, there needs to be. These people that work for the government have no fear of going to prison because they just resign.
If you like Martha, by the way, good call. Keep on trucking, all right, in Michigan. Martha Stewart, like some others, have gone to prison for insider trading, right? Insider trading. You go to prison for financial crimes. This woman that, if it is true that what Trump alleging, and I have no reason not to believe President Trump, Trump's never lied to us. If she manipulated the numbers and it had a negative impact on the market, and she did it to undermine the President of the United States, it's a financial crime, it's economic terrorism, and it's treason. I don't see any other way around it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
I was just listening, and certainly this woman should be prosecuted for something, because if she's making fake numbers, that affects, like I said, that affects
I remember the numbers came out, and William Youngman in the Gold Report on Friday says, the job numbers are out lower than expected. And he was talking about how it impacted markets. When those job numbers, if they come down lower than expected, it cost billions of dollars in devaluation across all economic sectors. I'm sure there's some sector that makes money, but for the most part, it has a negative impact on the stocks and everything else out there. Except annuities, which your money's never at risk with annuities, right? So we talked about that with Joe Thomas. But so if she did that, if she cost the U.S. economy to lose hundreds of millions, certainly, probably billions of dollars, she did it on purpose to hurt President Trump. Yeah. How is that not economic terrorism?
Without a doubt, I'm thinking that this is a Democratic strategy, because they know, like what you first was talking about, that the illegals are not net migration. So now they're not in the emergency rooms. What happened to all those tax dollars that we're supposed to be getting from them? So we don't need that. The economy's doing great. So what are they going to say? Oh, well, it's not doing so great. I mean, we need these illegals back into the country to give us money. That's the only thing I can think of to make this woman lie like that. So this is the Democrat plot to try to.
I'm sorry. You know, people go into the emergency room with a stubbed toe. They're running CAT scans, right? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, man. These people, like I was in the emergency room once a couple of years ago, and you're right. I was like, oh man, this is I'm in Mexico. You know, this is exactly what it is. They all are in there, and
you know, about 5 or 10 years ago, I got into a really bad. It was the first time I fell on my skateboard because I was live streaming online while I was skateboarding on my longboard, and I hurt myself pretty bad. And I didn't break anything, but I went to the emergency room. They're running, and I don't have insurance, right? And they x-rayed my entire body. They did a CAT scan. They did all this stuff. And then the billing person comes, and I said, I don't have insurance, you know? She asked for my insurance information. And she said, okay. She says, I'm going to send our social worker over to sign you up for Medicaid. And I said, I'm not going to qualify. She says, yeah, you will. I said, I'm not going to qualify. So the social worker comes over. She asked me one question. She's like, oh, you're right. You don't qualify. You know, but you know, but all these scans, you know, oh my God, I had to pay for that. Out of my own pocket.
When I walked into the emergency room, the woman behind the counter looked at me. Oh, here's a paying customer, you know, because you're white, you know. But you know, for some reason, they were getting away with it. I don't know how come all these illegals are able to be treated, but. You know, you
well, not anymore. Not anymore. The ERs are, you know, and emergency rooms have become a business, right? You see hospitals advertising their emergency rooms, and you see a lot of like Baptist Health and others. They open up in strip centers just ERs. There's no hospital, just a walk-in ER. So it's like a business. And now that you don't have all these illegals. Well, I guess it's not good for that healthcare racket. You know what I'm talking about. Those, you see billboards and TV ads for emergency rooms. Yeah, I bet they run them on Telemundo and Univision. I bet there's a lot of ER ads on Univision and Telemundo. Maybe not now.
I'd like to find out how much the government's been paying all this money towards these emergency rooms and how much we're saving.
To illegals. That's right. All right. Appreciate the call, Doug. Now, I want to tell you guys, the free doorbell camera from Slomin's, this is for a very limited time, guys. Just giving you a heads up. You know, you can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin's Shield. Slomin's, that's right. It's a pretty good deal, huh? Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call right now, no matter where you're located. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. Get that free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. All right, our first hour of this MAGA Monday morning is in the can. We're approaching our top of the hour break. We'll come back. I'm going to recap a little bit, but there's a lot to cover when we get back. And I still would like to hear, those of you on hold, stand by, hear your thoughts on what charges could be brought up against this labor statistician if she deflated the numbers on purpose. Our number, toll free, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. Hour number 2 has begun of Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Yeah, I was shocked last night, right before I went to sleep, to find out Lonnie Anderson died. And, you get to that age where everybody you grew up with, all the celebrities start dying, right? Hulk Hogan, Ozzy, and now Lonnie Anderson. And I was always a fan of Lonnie Anderson because she was the receptionist on WKRP in Cincinnati. And let me tell you, WKRP in Cincinnati, which is a brilliantly funny show, is also a documentary. It doesn't mean to be, I guess, but it was, that show was created by a guy who worked at a small town radio station. And WKRP in Cincinnati is like a documentary of what radio stations are like, and it holds up. I own all those episodes. I bought them on iTunes, and every year or two, my wife and I, we do a binge through every episode, starting with the first episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. I love that show, and everybody says that the funniest episode is the turkey drop episode, and that one's pretty funny. But my favorite, I don't know my favorite, but an episode that's funnier is they did a live remote. Did you guys ever see this? They did a live remote. This was Dr. Johnny Fever and Venus Flytrap. They do a live remote. It was just Dr. Johnny Fever, Howard Hespen. Is Howard Hespen still alive? I don't know. But WKRP does a live remote from a stereo shop. And while they're on the air, they get robbed. And Dr. Johnny Fever, the DJ's calling out live on the air that they're being robbed and to send help. And the police don't come because no one listens to the station. It's hilarious. There's no one listening. It's like, it's pretty bad if something like that happens and nobody's listening. But WKRP, yeah, that's too bad. Lonnie Anderson died, 79. And I know when you're young, you hear when these people die, 79, 85, they lived a long time. What I've learned as you grow older, because I'm 54 now, right? As you grow older, 79 isn't what it used to be, right? It's not as old as it used to be. Oh my goodness. WKRP in Cincinnati. And that's one of the things that got me interested in radio, because I used to watch that show when I was a little kid, but I lived in Columbus, Ohio at the time, and it took place in Cincinnati, Ohio, so there was a little bit of a connection, but it's a funny episode. There was also the one, she of course was like she was the Sydney Sweeney of her day, Lonnie Anderson. She was the Sydney Sweeney and Pamela Anderson, Baywatch era, and everybody of her day. And she was the receptionist at the radio station. And there was another episode where she had like a dinner party at her house, and they go to her house, and she lived in like a palace. And it showed that the guy that ran the radio station was, Mr. Carlson, was paying her more than like everybody else at the radio station combined. It's a pretty funny episode. And of course, she had all that scandal when she was married to Burt Reynolds, and Burt Reynolds messed around on her and cheated on her with a flight attendant. It was crazy. Well, whatever. Lonnie Anderson is gone and not forgotten. And if you've never watched WKRP in Cincinnati, watch it, but watch it in the order of the episodes, starting with episode 1. All right, when Randy Travis becomes the program director of WKRP. I know that show. Hey, I don't know. It's a great show. I love it. WKRP in Cincinnati, and she'll be missed. Now, I wanted to, let me see. Where's this? I don't know if I have the article. Yeah, I do. I have the article. Okay, so Sydney Sweeney. There's been a big controversy with Sydney Sweeney, of course, over the ad of hers, right, at American Eagle Outfitter. Been a big controversy, that she's got good genes and all this stuff. And it's a great ad campaign. About the middle of last week, about Wednesday or Thursday last week, the company value, because the stocks had gone through the roof, was up over $400 million the middle of last week, over $400 million. So it's had a great impact on the company. And I was going to go over on the weekend and buy some new jeans because I've lost all this weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I didn't make it over there, but I'm going to go over this week and buy some jeans because I need some new pants. And I'm going to go to American Eagle Outfitter. And I've got even more reason to go after the latest update from Sydney Sweeney, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But I learned something. Now, this is new to me. Now, maybe this is not new to you guys, but I rarely buy my own clothes. My wife buys everything. Like all married guys, our wives buy everything. I don't know what size clothes I wear. I know what size shoe I wear. I don't know what size underwear I wear because I've been married. It'll be 29 years in December. My wife buys everything. My underwear, my socks, my shirts, my everything. And so I don't know what size I wear. And I know that all my pants are too big. So I've been putting off buying new pants. And I'm going to go to American Eagle Outfitter. And I did not know this. I found this out. I went online to make sure that the American Eagle Outfitter is still in the mall by my house. And they offer something. I was going to go on Saturday, but I figured if I go during the week, it won't be as busy. So I'll go one day this week. But I learned something about American Eagle Outfitter that I did not know. And I thought this was a pretty cool thing. That you can actually make an appointment at American Eagle Outfitter. I just thought it was like a place like the Gap or Old Navy, but it's a little better than that. You can make an appointment for free with a stylist at American Eagle Outfitter, and it even says on the website there's no obligation or pressure to buy anything. And I'm sure it's just a guy or a girl who work in the store. But they stay with you and help you pick out your clothes and get the right size. And because we have these heat warnings in the news every single day, that you're not supposed to leave your house during the day between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. with this heat, my wife can't go out in this heat because of her health conditions. And, and anytime I go and buy clothes myself, I always get the wrong sizes, usually too big. So I'm making an appointment with a stylist at American Eagle Outfitter so to help me buy some some pants and some jeans at American Eagle Outfitter. But anyway, I don't know. Do other stores offer that? I've never heard of that before. Never. I know there's like private clothing stores and you can get like tailored stuff and you can make appointments. I've heard of that, but at a mall retail outlet, I've never heard of such a thing before. So anyway, I'm going to do that. But I was telling you guys last week, I don't know too much about Sydney Sweeney. I know more about her today than I knew a week ago because she's been in the news. I've seen one or two clips of her in these romantic comedy things. And then I saw her I mentioned this last week a couple times. I saw her in a full-length movie that's new on Apple TV a few weeks ago with Julianne Moore, where she plays Julianne Moore's Hunter Biden-like daughter. And her acting is less than mediocre quality. And she's not really good looking enough, I think, to be the top actress in Hollywood. And her acting's not that great either. A lot of times you'll have someone who's like the top actor and they're not that great, but they're like super good looking, right? Or actress. I'm not saying she's not good looking, but she's not at that movie star level. And she's famous and a big star because her genes give her huge boobs. Everybody knows this. And that's what the joke is in the ad. If you see the ad, the camera's zoomed in on her chest and she's showing the cleavage, and she's like, look up and all this stuff. But then I found something out about Sydney Sweeney yesterday, and she's a lot hotter today than she was yesterday to me. We find out, and maybe you guys have known this. I did not know this because I don't follow celebrities. But last year in 2024, she registered here in the state of Florida, Sydney Sweeney, as a Republican. So, yeah. So that means Sydney Sweeney is MAGA. She's the top actress in Hollywood right now. She's the most famous woman in America right now, and she's MAGA. And, if you registered as a Republican in 2024 anywhere, especially Florida, why would you do that? To vote for Donald Trump, of course. So Sydney Sweeney is MAGA. So she needs our support. And yesterday, the president was actually asked a question about Sydney Sweeney being a registered Republican. Let me pull it up here. This is President Trump yesterday. Oh. Yeah.
Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think her acting's spectacular. I'm going to see all her movies now. She's a lot better looking than she was a day ago. And I like her, and I think the ad's important. I was... What do you guys think? This is a big turning point. Let me say this. I'm late for the break, but I just want to finish up on Sydney Sweeney, then we'll break. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. We were talking, well, you know what? If I do this, I'm going to be way late for the break. So I'll get into this after the break. It is important, and I'll tell you why it's important after the break. But first, on this Monday morning, are you waking up in pain? Go see Dr. Appleton. Walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are never necessary at Dr. Appleton. Go in this morning. Take advantage of his laser wave pain treatment and say bye-bye to your pain like I've done 7 times. And over the weekends, you're doing stuff, right? You're playing pickleball. You're golfing. You're cleaning out the garage. Who knows what you're doing? Washing the car. And you wake up on Monday and you got some aches. You got some pains. Go get that fixed. Go see Dr. Appleton. His laser wave pain treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard. Neck pain, stenosis, tennis elbow, tinnitus, strains and sprains, sciatica, muscular contraction, lumbar pain, hip pain, knee pain, bursitis, bronchial neuralgia, arthritis. If you've been in a car accident or had any other type of accident, like I've had with my skateboard accidents or a slip and fall or anything and you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. The laser away pain treatment works on those pains as well. It's 100% painless. In fact, you don't even feel it when the treatment's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. There's no shots, no injections, no drugs, no downtime. And the best part is it works. go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain too. Here's his number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
What the MyPillow mattress topper does, it turns your entire bed into a big MyPillow. So that 4 to 5 hours of sleep I get every night is well rested sleep because of that mattress topper. It comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. It's machine washable and dryable, and it will change your life. Let me tell you. When I was a kid growing up, and I know a lot of you are old enough to remember this, you used to be able to flip your mattress. Remember that? Remember the days when you could flip a mattress? You have a mattress, and then, for whatever reason, it got lumpy, lopsided or something, and you flip it over. And it was like having a brand new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress company, they got real wise to that. You can't flip mattresses anymore. It's like a box spring underneath, right? So if you've got, and mattresses are expensive. If you have a lumpy mattress, a lopsided mattress, get your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It comes in every mattress size there is. Use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, to get 30% off. You can also go to my phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E.
All right, we'll be back in less than a minute, guys. So if you're on hold, stand by. We're back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Let's take a call or two, then I'll finish up on Sydney Sweeney. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Steve from Megan Martin County.
Hey, Steve. What's on your mind?
Hey, that lady that is whacked out on those jobs numbers.
Yeah.
I'm so happy she got fired. I don't think there's probably any way to prosecute people like that. They just play stupid and lot of these, like the Obama thing that they're doing with Comey and all that. I mean, we can only hope and pray that somebody gets charged and goes to jail. But from all these radio networks that I've been listening to, it doesn't sound like they got a shot.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I see a lot of, I see a lot of things happening. But but with the labor statistics woman, the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah.
So if they investigate that, send the feds in, and do a forensic audit of these numbers, and question the people that work under her, and find out that she purposely sent out false numbers to that there's got to be crimes, both financial and perhaps even insurrection crimes. She's trying to interrupt the government business of the president.
I agree, absolutely. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you, does this program have a podcast besides yours?
No, I mean, you know, if you go to our radio station website, trueoldiesfla.com, after the show every day, the show is uploaded there as a podcast.
Oh, okay. All right.
trueoldiesfla.com. My podcast,
Yeah,
the Brian
that's
Craig
great.
Show. Yeah, the Brian Craig Show podcast, which is separate. It's on all podcast platforms and YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. One thing I wanted to ask you, did you change your programming where when you're on hold, you can't listen to the radio program?
It depends on where I'm broadcasting from on that particular day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm crossing. I'm in Kentucky, going to Colorado right now, so I'm on the iHeart app.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good.
Well, have a good day, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, appreciate the call. So let me finish up with Sydney Sweeney, because this is really important. I know you wouldn't think it is, but it is. You know, we're in a MAGA nation, so we find out over the weekend. At least I found out. I know everybody and their brother's going to say, "We've known that." Really, you really follow these actors and actresses? I don't. You know, but Sydney Sweeney in 2024. Registered to vote in the state of Florida as a Republican. That means she's MAGA. Why else would you do that other than to be able to vote for Donald Trump? And the president was asked about it yesterday. I played this before the break, but let me play it again. The president was informed of this on the tarmac next to Marine One by a reporter yesterday, and he said some things about it. Notice how the reporter doesn't think Trump knows who Sydney Sweeney is. Trump knows everything about everyone that's going on.
That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, you know, that's a big deal. There have been other Republican actors, but usually not when they're working actors at the top of their game. Even President Reagan, who was president of the Screen Actors Guild, when he was a working actor, he was a Democrat. Okay? And it was only after the acting kind of dried up for him that he came out as a Republican. You know, that was in that Roosevelt Democrat era. And there's been actors from time to time you find out are Republican, you know, but not when they're at the top of their game. I know a lot of people, they say Rob Lowe's a Republican. Well, he is now. But you remember when Rob Lowe had that scandal with that girl years ago? If my memory serves, he was at the Democrat National Convention when that happened. I remember him being at the Democrat National Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, because I was in Atlanta, Georgia for something else at the time. I was a teenager. Yeah, so Kevin Sorbo, but he's not really, he was never A-list. But Kevin Sorbo, who I've interviewed Kevin Sorbo, but he didn't come out as a Republican until after his career was over. Dean Cain. Very few Republicans come out as a Republican when they're at the top of their game. And Sydney Sweeney has done that because she's like the top it girl right now in Hollywood. And the thing about this, last week we were talking about how it's the end of woke, right? And now to find out that Sydney Sweeney is a MAGA, yeah, that was in 1987, that Democrat. I remember I was in Atlanta for something else, 1987. So I was 16. And when that, John Wayne was he was pro-Vietnam War, but by the time John Wayne came out as like being pro the Vietnam War, he was already set. Like when he did that movie, The Green Berets is like the opposite of Platoon. It's a pro-Vietnam War movie, but he started acting in the silent film era, John Wayne. He was not some out and about Republican during the days when he was doing Stagecoach. I promise you, okay? This is a very unusual thing. By the time he was a known Republican, he was so established and semi-retired. Didn't make that many movies after that. His heyday, nobody knew his politics, right? But anyway, back to this. So she's MAGA. So, when we were talking about this Sydney Sweeney story last week, we were talking about, as everyone else, it was the end of woke, where white, blonde women can be, in commercials and things again. But now when we find out that the top A-list actress in America is MAGA, is that a change? Are we going to start to see more conservative, more out of the closet working actors and actresses? I think that's that really shows you that the controversy around this ad probably isn't fazing her that much. I was wondering if it was freaking her out because she's at the top of her game right now. But if she registered as a Republican in Florida in 2024, this is, she's probably enjoying this. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell everyone that if you need tires, go to Friendly Tire in Margate. Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get brand new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75. And by the way, that's not for some oddball size. For as low as $75, these are new tires I'm talking about. That's on tires that fit some of the most popular vehicles on the road today in South Florida, okay? And when I say out the door and on the road, I just want to highlight, Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire does not charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tire. He's got all the name brands you know and love. I'm a Firestone guy, but no matter what brand you love, he can get those for you. If you have run flats, like I have on one of my cars, the lowest prices you'll find on run flats. If you have a Tesla, he has all the special tools for the Teslas. You have special tools to change those tires, and he gets incredible deals on those as well. He has thousands of good used tires in stock at great prices, and he also does tire repairs. Give him a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. We'll be right back. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. About 90 seconds. Less than that, actually. We'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. If you would like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. All right, let me take a call or two. Then we got some big stuff out of Texas going on, which is really awesome. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Oh, hey, Richie.
I'd like to have a real discussion with you this morning.
Oh.
A little go back and forth.
Okay.
No, seriously. All right. Now, Larry Summers was on Stephanopoulos yesterday, and naturally, Stephanopoulos and Summers trashed Trump and said that there's no way they can manipulate numbers or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no president since I've been on this planet that has tried harder to fix an economy that the Democrats have torched. So I'm not attacking Trump. They're doing everything, but everything isn't rosy, like you said. Well, all the jobs are. It's not so rosy. I'll give you an example. You can't sell a car because the interest rates are out of sight, and the prices are so high that the car dealers are sitting there with thousands of cars, and that's not President Trump's fault. That's the interest rates. Your housing, you're getting luxury condos in Florida that are going up like crazy. Millionaires have been able to buy them, but the average.
Richie's phone went dead. Maybe he's so excited. I think he hit the. You cut out. I think I couldn't hear you for a few seconds. I heard you say the millionaires and the condos.
Yeah, they could buy condominiums, but regular people out there can't because the interest rates are astronomical. The difference of 1 point could be $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, unless they drop these interests, and they're doing everything to stifle President.
Okay, I'll comment on the two. I'll comment on the couple things you're talking about. Okay, the auto industry. While you are correct in that the interest rates are high, and a lot of people won't buy cars because of the interest rates, but people still need cars, and people like you and me. We may not buy a car because maybe we don't need one right now, or we're smart enough to know to wait. But most people, when they go to buy cars, don't care about the interest rates as much as they do when it comes to houses. Most people, when they go and buy cars, just want to get approved. They don't care about the interest rate. But the thing about the car industry, the reason there's so many cars on the lot, this is a holdover from the lockdown period. Okay. And the auto industry started this act of they were no longer going to negotiate. The price was they did two things. They started this during the lockdowns because of the supply chain got messed up for a while, that they would no longer negotiate on car prices. And then they had this second price that they put on above the sticker, which was the adjusted, they called it, if I remember correctly, the adjusted market value. And you would go to a new car dealership. It could, depending on the, like my last couple cars, I have Mini Coopers. I have a Kia. I got two Kias and a Mini Cooper in my family. And, you know, Mini Coopers are BMW. So I go in to get my oil change for free and I walk around the BMW showroom, and they would have this price. Sometimes it would be over $10,000 more than the sticker value for the market added value. And this arrogant thing that we're not going to negotiate. And what's happened is they're not selling cars. And they're not selling cars because of that. And there's still the auto industry has not really morphed back into what they used to do. They'll tell you they don't. You know, I bought a new car last year, and they're not into negotiating. But if you're willing to walk and don't need the car, you can still get a deal. But you got to play harder ball than ever. And so that's why there's so many cars. You know, I went in. I told you guys a couple weeks ago. I went because I wanted to look at that Volkswagen bus that's electric, and my daughter and I went and drove it around. Now I wasn't going to buy it. You know, and I told them it was $94,000, right?
Yeah.
And they were not up to negotiating. They're like, no, that's the price. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Now, so far as the condos and the housing market, you know, there's a couple things going on. There's a big real estate scam going on in Florida in the aftermath of that condo collapse in Miami Beach, where people they're doing these evaluations of condos along the beach. They have architects go in, and then all of a sudden, you know, and a lot of these, I was talking earlier in the show, when I went to, I was down in Fort Lauderdale, and I went to the Southport Wall Bar, and they have this god-awful industrial building on one side of the Intercoastal Waterway, and on the other side, they have these condos that are like 3 or 4 stories high that were built in the 60s and 70s.
You know what that building is? You know what that building is? You were talking about. You know what that is?
What?
The new Broward County Convention Center and Hotel.
No, that's not what it is. That's another part. That's not where the Southport is. That's somewhere else. Somebody told me it was a boat, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So what's happened is, and I watched the local news in Broward, and I've seen some stories on this where people have condos. The building's 3 or 4 stories tall. It was built in the 60s and 70s. Some of these condos are worth $1 million. $1 million. Some of them are worth $500,000, and the building gets condemned. And what you have going on with the condos in Florida is similar to the fires of Malibu. While they didn't burn down the condos of Florida, they're condemning them so they can build huge high-rises. There's a big condo scam going on here in Florida, and it's really criminal. You know, that condo that collapsed that part of Miami Beach where that condo collapsed, okay, is the old Miami Beach with a lot of old junky buildings. But that building, as bad as it collapsed because they were building a high-rise condo next door. And when they put those pylons into the ground for the building, it causes seismic event. It causes earthquakes. And the seismic event from the construction is what knocked that building down and killed those people. Everybody knows this. And so the condo problem has nothing to do in Florida with the interest rates. There's a big real estate scam going on to tear down these smaller condos.
The developers are not building homes in Florida right now. Not $300,000-$400,000 houses. There are properties that have signs coming soon, and they're just not building because people get the average middle income. But the last thing I'm going to say is the tariffs. Okay, now coffee, for example.
But one more. I'll tell you one more thing too. Okay, just one more thing. There was a guy that called me last week who got a roof from Tom Leaporta. Right? You hear about? He called me last week. He's going to be if you haven't heard it already, it's a new commercial that's airing on the show. If you haven't heard it, you'll hear it. Okay. He's going to be in the new recorded commercial. You may have heard it already. If not, you'll hear it. But he had to get a new roof because his insurance company made him get a new roof for the financing. So, if you have a roof, and I've heard that number, I'll have to ask Tom Leaporta if that's the right number. But
15 years.
If you have a house that has that's older than, and the roof is 15 years of age or older, before you can get financing, you have to get a new roof, and so that's there's a lot of and that's an insurance racket that's going on, that because all the insurance companies that left Florida. So what I'm telling you is the home sales in Florida are involved with this insurance racket, and the now, by the way, if you need a new, call Tom at Leaporta Roofing, because he's going to give you a good deal and get the job done right. But they're forcing people to buy roofs before they can buy a new house or sell their house and this other stuff.
Brian,
You wanted to have a long, detailed discussion. You're getting it. So don't gripe.
Folgers coffee right now in Publix, $22.79 for one coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of the tariff.
I know. It's crazy.
They went up to They went up to $18. Now they're almost $23 for coffee.
Yeah.
Joke.
People give me a hard time because I get coffee at Starbucks every morning before the show. And, because I drink espresso. Now, I've cut my coffee back in half, which is nice. But I'm still drinking, 4 or 5 shots of espresso every morning. And they're like, why don't you make the coffee at home? Because it's cheaper for me to go to Starbucks and get then go to Publix and buy the espresso there. Or I had one of those Nespresso, that kind of like the Keurig espresso. It would cost me $10 for this cup of coffee if I made it at home, as opposed to like just under $5 if I go to Starbucks, But yeah,
3 years ago,
yeah.
3 years ago, coffee was $9 for the same thing that's now $23.
Yeah.
Almost $23.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Have a great
All right,
morning.
take care. Yeah. But I'll tell you, there's a big real estate scam going on in Florida with the condos. Now, we were talking earlier, if you're on hold, stand by. We were talking earlier about this woman who cooked the books with the labor statistics and what a negative impact that had throughout the economy. I would guess billions of dollars of devaluation took place on Friday because that woman cooked the books and downplayed the jobs numbers. Unless you've taken my advice and called Joe Thomas and you're in annuities, because some bureaucrat makes up numbers to deflate the jobs numbers because she doesn't like Trump, and it causes people to lose all kinds of money and their investments in the stock and everything. When you're in annuities with Joe Thomas, no matter what happens in the market, your money's safe. You're not going to lose money with that. Give him a call. Talk to him about annuities. And not only is your money safe from stock market losses, you're guaranteed an income stream for the rest of your life. So turn your money into guaranteed income for life, and stop worrying about these things that happen that devalue your stock portfolio. Get in annuities. Call him. Now, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And online, JupiterJoe.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back shortly. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the chat. And of course, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. This is a radio station break. Those of you that are watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you want the effects of the green screen, you got to go to my other live stream, which you can see on my channel on YouTube. There you get to hear the sound bites, see the videos and the articles. But if you're watching and you see the green behind me, you get to see me, and hear the callers, and you can call in, but you can't hear the audio or see the articles or videos that I share. We'll be back in about a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Pretty exciting. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. There's a couple of things I want to get into before the top. One of them, it's so unfortunate that Ron DeSantis betrayed Donald Trump and all of us who supported him. I mean, could you, if he did not mess up, he would probably be the Attorney General right now. But but he did something over the week. He's doing a lot of good things as governor. He really is. He's very serious about ending property taxes in the state of Florida, which would be great because we were talking earlier about the insurance company rackets. The insurance rates have gone up so much in Florida. Oh my goodness. I was talking to my mother over the weekend and she's like, the insurance is so expensive. She's like, it's not insurance anymore. She's like, should I let my insurance go? It's getting to that. And a lot of people have let their homeowners insurance go that have paid off homes. I mean, because it's so expensive. And if DeSantis rids us of property taxes, that'll be a great relief to homeowners, and not just homeowners. That would apply to commercial real estate as well. And he's doing great MAGA things. But something happened over the weekend that was absolutely amazing. Okay, so Alligator Alcatraz. I'm wearing one of my mini Alligator Alcatraz T-shirts right now. My wife bought me like 4, 5, 6 Alligator Alcatraz shirts. I love them. And there's some illegals at Alligator Alcatraz that are, they say, are in a hunger strike right now. And one of the local news affiliates in Miami interviewed over the phone some of the Alligator Alcatraz detainees who were talking about the abuse and everything else. And I'm like, well, how tough is it if they got cell phones down there? How are they calling the local news? And how do they know they were really there? If they're so strict, if it's a gulag, if it's a concentration camp, how are they able, from Alligator Alcatraz, to call the local news? And when I was down there, I couldn't get cell signal. I was talking about this last week. I couldn't get cell signal when I was at Alligator Alcatraz. And these guys are getting cell phone signals to the local news stations from there? I don't know. Something stinks with that. But anyway, Ron DeSantis did something really amazing over the weekend. And this is why it pains me so much. He let his wife get in his ear and got him to run for president. His wife got all excited and talked him into it. A lot of, wives can destroy a man's business and career. And she's not the first, and she won't be the last wife to do that. But, Florida is a very obviously MAGA Republican state. That does not mean that it's a completely Republican state. We're a red state. It's a MAGA state. But there are some pockets where Democrats reign. And one of those is Orange County, Florida. Orange County is where Orlando, Florida is, for those that don't know. And it's also where Universal Studios is located, SeaWorld, and most of Disney World. Disney World's in 2 counties. It's in Orange and Osceola, but most of it's in Orange County. And Orange County, where Orlando is, and these theme parks, has a long history of being a sanctuary county. Orlando, a sanctuary city. Orange County, a sanctuary county. A lot of illegals there. I remember a few years back, I was at Disney World, and when I go to Disney World or Universal, I take the Turnpike and the 410, and I don't get off the interstates. I don't go into Orlando too much, but I had to go into Orlando. I had a flat tire, and I went into the city, and it was the first time I'd actually been into the city in many, many years. Even though I've gone to all the theme parks, I didn't go into the actual area of Orlando, into the town. In many years, I was staying at Universal. And I just take, the Turnpike to I-4 to Universal. I hadn't gone to the city since like maybe the 90s. And it was totally different. I mean, it was like Southern California. It had been taken over by illegals, you could tell. And at the time, it was a sanctuary city. So anyway, Ron DeSantis, one of the first things he did as governor was outlaw sanctuary cities and sanctuary communities and counties. It's illegal. And the Orange County Democrat Commission had said that they passed an ordinance, and they were not going to cooperate with ICE or the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They were not going to allow their law enforcement to turn illegals over to be sent to Alligator Alcatraz here in South Florida. They passed an ordinance, and they were bragging about it. It was on the news and everything. Well, Ron DeSantis and the Florida Attorney General said that they were going to remove all of them. They have a county mayor. Ron DeSantis and the Attorney General of Florida both said they were going to remove the county mayor and the entire county commission from Orange County over this, because sanctuary government, sanctuary cities and counties are illegal in Florida. And that was Friday. This all came down, the threat came down Friday, that we're going to remove everybody. And Ron DeSantis has a history of that. Remember, he removed the Broward County Sheriff and other elected officials in Broward County after the Parkland incident. So, these tough guys, what did they do? They passed a new ordinance to send their people to Alligator Alcatraz. So DeSantis, in about a day, got the Orange County, where Orlando, Florida is, county commission to totally reverse their sanctuary policy, because they were going to be all removed, and who knows what consequences. And now they're going to send people to Alligator Alcatraz. That is absolutely amazing. And he's so good as governor of Florida. And I'm very excited that he did that. But I want to ask you in this audience, if he were to run, would you vote for him? Now, he does have I think this is his strategy, okay? His term is up. He cannot run for re-election because he's term limited. We pretty much have an open Senate seat. DeSantis appointed, I can't even remember her name. DeSantis appointed the senator to finish out Marco Rubio's term. I forgot her name, but that term is up at the midterms. And I think DeSantis plans on running for the Senate. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I think his plan is, and he has said that ending property taxes in Florida will be on the ballot. That's a ballot issue. That's up to the voters. And I think he plans on running for the Senate with that on the ballot. And he's going to get credit for that. And he's going to, if he does that, he'll win the Republican primary. And then he's going to be running against a Democrat if he does this. So we're going to have to vote for him. We can't let some Democrat take the Florida Senate seat. You know, it's a pretty good plan. I wish I could trust him, but it's very hard to trust him after the betrayal, which goes deeper than what I just said. The betrayal is pretty deep. But what he did with the Orange County Commission at the end of the week last week involving Alligator Alcatraz was fantastic. Now, I was telling you guys I'm heading over. I was going to go over the weekend, but I just didn't get to it. So I'm going to go this week to American Eagle Outfitters to get some new jeans because of all this weight I've lost, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And, I have not gained back a single ounce of my weight that I've lost from Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And the reason that is because I had no big lifestyle changes with the program, right? Ate foods I would normally eat, didn't do any exercise, and I didn't take any prescription medications. So now that I'm in the maintain phase, it's easy because I didn't have major lifestyle changes. If I had to make major lifestyle changes, starving myself, eating foods I didn't like, exercising 3 or 4 times a week and all this stuff, I would have gained weight back. But because I didn't have to do all these lifestyle changes, the maintain phase, it's easy as can be. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. I'm going to give you the number. It's a free consultation, and they'll help you no matter where you're located in the United States. We have listeners from all over America who have called and are losing weight and have lost weight thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And you guys that watch me online, you can see it. I'm wearing one of my new shirts. This Alligator Alcatraz shirt's a new shirt my wife got me. And you can tell I've lost a lot of weight. I'm not the man I once was. I'm a much smaller man than I was just a few short months ago. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the calls after the break. But what DeSantis did in Orange County is beautiful. He is the greatest Republican governor we've ever had. When you look at the things that he's doing and this audit that he's going to do, this Doge thing of Broward County, I can't wait for that. Oh my goodness, there's going to be panic, and if they're not there yet, when that Florida Doge team gets to Broward County and starts doing that, there's going to be panic in the streets with government officials. I'm here to tell you. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be right back after this. Hey, what's up? Yep, can you hear me? All right, hold on. It's going to be a couple minutes, okay? Hold on. Have you been listening? Okay. Okay, all right, hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, we got 90 seconds. And then we'll be back. Thirty seconds.
You there?
Yeah, we got 30 seconds. 30 less than that. All right, we are back. The third hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve.
Can you believe it? 49 years and counting.
No, I can't. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane.
It is. What you got today?
I got all kinds of stuff. Have you been listening? I've been on the air for over 2 hours.
I've been listening to everything.
Well, let me take a call or two, and then I'll get into some of the new stuff, and we'll do some recapping and everything else. But there's some new stuff I haven't gotten to. All right, let's take a call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara.
And thanks for taking my call. I'd just like to commend you for finally getting a little bit off of your great governor's back. And I don't agree with you that it is his wife who pulled any strings with him. I mean, hey, I've heard Casey DeSantis speak, and she's no Tulsi Gabbard that a man like Ron DeSantis would.
Oh, no. In fact, Ron, hold on. Don't lose your thought. Don't lose your thought. Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're here till. Yes, you can, Barbara. Yes, you can. Just hold on. I want to comment on DeSantis's wife. I would have thought what you thought, but before they were married, she was a local news anchor in Jacksonville, Florida. And she's always been a Republican. And you can find this clip online. She went to a Koch brother event, and she came on television with a coffee cup that said the Koch brothers on it. I've never seen a woman so excited about being in the company of the Koch brothers before. She talked her husband into running against Trump because she's friends with her girlfriend is Jeb's wife, and she messed up his whole career.
Certainly don't. She hasn't messed up his career, but I would just simply say this: as a woman, and especially also knowing that Ron DeSantis is a strong man, Casey DeSantis can talk him into maybe the color of the bedrooms and stuff like that. This was something, in my opinion, orchestrated by the Bushes.
Yes.
Yes, she went along with it. This came from the Bushes, who were pretty solidly in the Obama-Hillary Clinton camp as far as what was going to happen to President Trump, period. And that's where I think this all came from, is letting Ron thinking
can you explain to me what the issue is here, because I'm having trouble following.
Well, I was talking about before the top of the hour, Steve. That's why I was asking if you're listening. Barbara, I'm sorry. I mean, you're still on the line. I mean, I'm not hanging up on you.
Well, I mean, I appreciate. I'm saying my Hail Marys now.
I mean, come on. She was not even Richie.
I asked her to explain what
what we were talking about before the break. What we were talking about before the break, Steve, is all these great things DeSantis has been doing in the last few weeks. He's doing, and we were talking about, can we trust him? All right, Barbara, go ahead.
Well, Ron DeSantis hasn't been a good governor. Thank you. It hasn't been within the last few weeks that he's been a good governor. Ron DeSantis has been a good governor since he's been governor. So that said,
So what is
back
the
to my
issue?
original point. Well, the issue is the first thing I said is I wanted to. I'm grateful to Brian to finally back up off of him and pounding on him, and because if President Trump, who now knows the whole story, I've noticed President Trump and Ron DeSantis together in a few photo ops and things that they're doing together. If President Trump, who now knows the whole story, that everybody else is just speculating on what happened, I'm sure that Ron DeSantis and President Trump has had a heart-to-heart, and President Trump knows what really happened and what I think happened. They was trying to make Ron believe that President Trump was going to jail, and then it looked like they were about to put him in jail. So I could see that whole scenario. My thing is this, as far as his wife, she's no Tulsi Gabbard. She's not even a close fit.
Yeah, but she doesn't know that.
Thank you.
But you know, but you know.
I appreciate
All right,
that.
all right. That's
Have a nice day.
all right. You know, if you guys go back, about DeSantis, okay, what he did last week that I was talking about before the top was really good. But he has been a great governor, a good Republican governor, the greatest we've ever had. And if you go back and you look at the tour that President Trump took of Alligator Alcatraz, President Trump was there, Ron DeSantis was there, and Kristi Noem was there. They did not look like that. It was very uncomfortable, Steve, and you could tell Ron DeSantis was uncomfortable, and President Trump wasn't happy with Ron DeSantis during that Alligator Alcatraz tour. You guys can go back because you can't trust the guy after he lies to you like he did and betrayed him. All right, let's see what else we got on the line. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Here's the short version. IB. Baby, if you ever wondered.
No singing. No singing. Oh my goodness. Remember that guy that used to call Steve and read poetry?
Yes, I do.
Remember his name?
No.
It was.
I made it a point to forget it.
He was very old. I'm sure he's no longer. When you're the longest running radio show, you outlive some of the chronics. I'm sure he.
I'm afraid so.
We just don't hear from him anymore. Oh my goodness. And I wanted to talk about, though, I haven't gotten to this yet. What's happened in Texas is brilliant. Okay, have you seen what's been going on the last few days with the redistricting in Texas?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Oh, this is beautiful. Now, first of all, the Democrats tried to stop the vote by fleeing Texas and going to Illinois. They've done this before. I can't remember what the issues were in the past when they did it. But the Democrats, when they don't get their way, for some reason they go all the way to Illinois and try to stop it. And Greg Abbott said he's going to remove from office any Democrat who flees Texas to stop the vote. So he's going to remove them from office if they do it, which is pretty tough. I mean, that's pretty cool. I like that he's doing that. And, the Democrats, and with the Republican establishment of the past, they did these, they do, for those that don't know, typically you get redistricting every 10 years after the census. I don't know why this one's coming up between a census, but usually what happens in the past, when they do redistricting, they carve out these bizarro districts so that more black people get elected to the House. And some of these some of these districts are shaped in such weird ways, zigzagging through every black neighborhood across multi-counties. It's bizarre, how they do this. And I started following this in the 90s, and that's how the late Alcee Hastings got elected. He had this district it was like the thinnest district. You could throw a baseball across the width of the district, but it touched like from every black house that it could to the next black household all the way through It was like in multiple counties, and this is what they do. So this is being corrected.
Okay.
This is being corrected in Texas, and the Republicans are going to gain Republicans are going to gain 5 seats in Texas from the Democrats through redistricting. And redistricting, it's kind of like I don't know too much about sports, but I know a little bit about how the draft works. Am I correct, Steve, in saying that the team that finishes last gets the first pick or something in the new draft? Is it something like that? It works. When they do the NFL draft, the last place team gets the first pick or something. Well, when your party is in power in the state legislature, and it comes time to redistricting, you're supposed to do the redistricting to benefit your party. It's not gerrymandering. That's just what you're supposed to do. Gerrymandering is drawing a district that's 10 feet wide through every black neighborhood and 18 counties, so you get one black congressman elected, right? That's what they do. It's not gerrymandering. You're supposed to redistrict to benefit your party. That's one of the benefits of being in power and being first place, not last place.
Yes.
So what they've done, though, not only are Republicans gaining 5 seats in Texas, the up-and-coming loudmouth, Jasmine Crockett, her district no longer exists with this new redistricting. I know. She no longer lives in her own. She's having meltdowns over this. That's why she's been. If you've noticed Jasmine Crockett, she's been on TV a lot the last couple of months. In the last few weeks, a whole lot. And every time you see her, she's gained more weight. And that's nervous eating because she knew how this was coming down, and she was building herself up on all these shows and everything so she could play the race card. She knew this was coming up for a long time.
Well, that's what these politicians do.
Well, it's not going to work with Governor Greg Abbott and the Texas Republicans. But Jasmine Crockett, the up-and-coming big mouth, they were talking about her being the running mate with AOC for president and vice president. Can you imagine these two clowns?
Well,
now,
keep your eye on Texas. My son just got stationed there.
Oh, good. So Jasmine Crockett, her congressional district no longer exists, and she no longer lives in the district area that she's currently been representing. So we may have gotten rid of Jasmine Crockett just by the redistricting. And this, what a great model for other states to do. Republicans, when they control states, they're so afraid to do what Greg Abbott and the Texas Republicans are doing. You redistrict the Democrats out of their seats, like they just did Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to do.
Texas is, I wish every state was going to do as well as
Oh, no,
Texas.
Steve, no. Jasmine Crockett is a bad person. And her being taken down a few steps is a pretty good thing.
That's fine, sure.
Yeah. All right, now listen, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We're going to take our break. I want to tell everyone, though, that there's an incredible special going on right now. I got to find the copy for it. Might have to tell you after. I had to write this down because I don't want to forget it. There's an incredible special going on right now on the My Slippers. Listen to this. The normal price of the My Slippers, and this is what I paid for mine, $149.98. $149.98. That's the regular price. Right now, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can get the MyPillow My Slippers for just $39.98. That's a savings of $110. That's a big old savings, isn't it? Absolutely. Now, this is almost like a secret sale. This is on our personal MyPillow page. Here's how you get to it. MyPillow.com/Kane. It's a / MyPillow.com/Kane. MyPillow.com/Kane. 110 with our promo code Kane. $110 off the MyPillow My Slippers, exclusive to our listeners. MyPillow.com/Kane with our promo code Kane at checkout. $110 off the MyPillow slippers. Order yours right now before your sizes run out. We'll be right back. right, Steve, you there? Steve? Mm. Hey there, hold on. I lost you. Hold on. Okay, you there, Steve?
Yeah, I got a question when we get back.
Okay. Just over a minute, we'll be back.
Okay.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve's here. And you said you had a question, Steve?
Yes, I do have a question. If we could switch off this thing for a second. I'm very curious about what's going to happen in this Palestinian thing, because with everything else, Trump has taken a masterful control of every situation that he's run into, but the one that seems unsolvable, and they're no closer to a solution than they were on day one, is the Palestinian problem. Why do you think he's having such a problem with that one?
Because the Jews and the Palestinians will be at war until the end of time. There's never going to be peace with these people. I mean, it's like trying to have a...
So how Trump, we both agree that Trump is a master. How do you think he's going to play it?
Oh, I mean, both sides, it's like Russia. Both sides keep messing everything up. Trump's been...
Okay, but it's not like Russia, because Russia, he came up with, as a matter of fact, what appears to be a brilliant move on how to move the Russia situation. So, but yet Palestine continues to elude him.
Well, because neither side want to end the war. And I'll tell you what I mean by this, okay? Public opinion, even with those who support Israel, was turning against Netanyahu with some of the coverage of the starving people, even though that baby starving story was fake.
It's a phony deal.
But that's not the perception. So people were getting sympathetic who otherwise would not be towards the people, the Palestinians. And Trump's even been sending all kinds of aid there and everything. And then what do? They got this Jewish hostage who looks like he's as thin as the concentration camp people. They film him digging his own grave.
Another solution that didn't work.
So both sides keep doing things to keep it prolonged. So I don't think there's anything you can do. They got to settle it on their own. Enough. Same thing with Russia and Ukraine. I mean, come on.
But what is Don's move? He's got to do something.
Let him fight it out. I'm getting sick of both of these people. He's trying to both the Mideast thing and Russia and Ukraine. I mean, he does everything he can do to end this, and then they keep egging it on. Enough. Sometimes they just got to fight it out.
So if this was poker, you just say they have a winning hand and nothing much you can do.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's much you can do. No, they keep screwing up.
Lose this
Trump gets not lose. He's not losing anything. He sets up a ceasefire with Iran and everything, and then Netanyahu sends out a big airstrike. He gets
Just another thing that didn't work.
because Netanyahu and the Palestinians, like Putin and Zelensky, keep screwing up. Every time Trump comes with a deal and gets things settled, one of the sides does something. That's it. I mean, it's the way it is. It's sad.
Do you have any solutions in your head?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what I think, and maybe we can get some comment on it from the listeners.
All right.
It seems to me the one solid thing I take from this is nothing but nothing is going to happen until they go in and clean out the Palestinians. It's only not the Palestinians, the bad guys. Who are the
Hamas.
Palestinians?
Hamas.
Until they go in and knock off, they got to do it sooner or later. They just got to do it and get it over with and deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
Because this is going to drag on forever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you mean Israel needs to kill everybody in Gaza?
I mean, it's a sad thing, and I understand it's a public relations nightmare. But you know something? It's no worse a nightmare for Israel than what's going on now.
Well, that would be, and so they could say, okay, if you're not out by Friday we're going to obliterate all of Gaza.
I don't know they're going to announce it. I don't think
Well,
that's the way they're
you got to
gonna do
let
it.
the
They're gonna
civilians
bring it.
know. You got to let the civilians. You got to give them a window to get out.
They don't want to get. They're not going to get out. That's what.
But you still have to give them the window. You still have to give them a window that it's coming. If they just wiped out all of Gaza without any warning.
I'm not saying all of Gaza. I'm saying they have to be. It's going to be one of these rescue operations. It's going to be a surprise operation when it occurs, and might as well get it over. It's like zipping the Band-Aid off the wound. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen, and they're just postponing the inevitable.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Okay. All right. Well, let's find out what the listeners think. Our number is 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Carlson.
Yes, Renee.
I wasn't really even going to call you, but you mentioned Jasmine Crockett's name, and you better put some respect in your mouth when you talk about her. All right? Because she is not on the level.
What has she done that's worthy of respect?
Oh, Steve, hey, what's up, idiot? What's up?
You hear my question?
No.
Well, it's just that you don't have an answer, and that's why you're diverting? Am I reading you right?
No.
I'm going to repeat the question that you can't answer. Buy us some time. What has she done that's so worthy respect? I'm listening. In fact, I got a pen here. I'm going to write down. Give me a list of all the things that Crockett has done that are worthy of praise. Go ahead.
Oh,
start with number one.
Shut up and listen. She's put you in check, for one. She's told you off.
She hasn't put me in check.
Are you listening or are you interrupting?
That's what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work.
No, you're interrupting. Stupid
she's a phony, a fraud.
Lion Brian, the bigot Nichols. Lion Brian, the bigot.
Oh, my goodness.
Stupid.
Oh.
Stupid.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that your idea?
Oh, my goodness.
Argument?
Yeah, liar, liar, pants on fire coming next. I mean, what's next?
Oh, by the way, you know Trump has got left skid marks all over your face. You know that, right?
Mm.
So you're going to move on to the next. This guy's an idiot.
Yeah, I knew that as soon as he said, this is Renee from Harlem.
Yeah.
Please. Jasmine Crockett. The only thing she's accomplished, Steve, is gaining a lot of weight in the last couple of months. Every time I see her, she's gained another 5 or 10. Yeah, her and AOC.
So it shows they may be starving over there, but some people are still eating pretty good.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett and AOC? Yeah, they're both gaining weight like crazy. I want to talk about Lighthouse Medical, though, for a moment. And what they've done is absolutely amazing. They've rid so many people of their pain and suffering from neuropathy. And you know firsthand, Steve, because, you know, neuropathy, I don't know if neuropathy is like an official disability, you know, but it should be. Because when you got all those neuropathy symptoms, you can't. I don't think you can be functional, can you?
Well, they get progressively worse if
Yeah.
you don't do something about it.
Well, your doctors will tell you there's nothing that can be done. That's what you ran into. You even went to a neurologist, and he says, "No, that's your life now. Go home and learn to tolerate the suffering." Yeah,
That's conventional wisdom in the medical circle.
Yeah, yeah. But Lighthouse Medical in Pompano have a treatment for neuropathy. They have a treatment that works, and they have a treatment that lasts. You know, your neuropathy, Steve, was so bad. You just wanted the discomfort, the pain, the dizziness, the falling down. Because people with neuropathy.
That's the thing, it affects your balance.
Yeah, the pain, the tingling, the no feeling at all. You just wanted it to end, and you wanted it to end now, which it did after your treatment with Lighthouse Medical. But what we didn't realize at the time, because the discomfort, the pain, the suffering, the misery is so severe, you're not thinking about tomorrow. You just wanted to end this moment. You had your treatment 3 years ago, and your neuropathy symptoms have not returned. So it's a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. If you're suffering with neuropathy, or someone you know is, call Lighthouse Medical. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States, by the way.
Yeah, don't forget the no-charge consult.
Well, that's only if you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. So make sure you do that when you call. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. All right, Steve, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. Hold on. All right, Steve, we got about 2 minutes.
Okay, I got a good thing if you want it.
Okay. Well, tell me when we get back.
Okay.
Got about a minute.
Okay.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane here on this MAGA Monday morning. What? So you had something, Steve? You were.
Yeah, I had something, but it slipped my mind during the break. I had something good.
Yeah, well,
Don't think of it.
I'd rather have something slip from my mind than be like Renee from Harlem and never have anything to slip away.
It's fun.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's take a call or two. Maybe it'll come back to you. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good night, good morning, Brian, Steve. It's Ricochet, the trucker. How you doing?
Hey, Ricochet.
Good day.
Hey, I hope you don't consider this off topic. You were talking earlier about DeSantis and the wins in Florida and Texas with the redistricting. You know, I look at everything here from a trucking standpoint, and I wanted to give you another win of Texas that maybe nobody has heard about. But, you know, Oklahoma did that English language rule with the safety thing, and they were putting people out of service, et cetera. Texas was one of the last when it comes to enforcing that law, and they just did something, I don't know what it was, but they have actually taken the lead in actually enforcing those immigration records. And I hope someone from the administration is listening, because as former military and law enforcement, I think it's a national security threat that we need to take it a step further with not just you know, being able to work under a visa, but you need to be you should be a U.S. citizen.
To what?
We have direct access.
To
right
do.
to
You
the
should be a
heart
U.
of
To do what?
chemical
To do what? What are you talking about? To you be a U.S. citizen to do what?
They should make it to be a truck driver.
Oh. There's the horn. That doesn't sound good.
What was that?
That's his truck horn. I'm waiting.
Come from in here.
No, I'm wondering if he's getting into an accident. That sounds like he pulled down that horn with the string. Let's let it go for a few more seconds, Steve.
Anyway, I thought of what we were talking about.
Oh my! I hope he's okay, because it sounded like he hit his truck horn because he's in trouble. Oh my goodness! Maybe he'll call back. All right. What did you remember it, Steve?
Yes, there was a great article in the Post over the weekend. I think it was actually a Sunday Post, about what's going on in England. England is slowly but surely turning into San Francisco. They're taken over by a liberal mayor, and it's starting to look absolutely, the best way to describe it, it's starting to look like San Francisco.
You mean gay?
Homeless all over the place.
Oh.
People shooting drugs. They didn't talk about gangs too much.
No, I said gay. Gays.
Crime.
I thought you meant gays.
No, not the gay. They didn't mention the gay issue.
No, okay, well, you said San Francisco.
The poverty and people homeless sleeping in the streets all over London.
You know, it's a funny thing, because you live in Broward County and I live in Palm Beach County, okay? And both counties are Democrat, but Broward County, it's radically Democrat. And a few years ago, we passed an ordinance in Palm Beach County against panhandling at intersections. And the homeless, they kind of have they know which cops enforce it and which ones don't, so they panhandle on the day that those cops are off that enforce it. But I go to Broward, I was in Broward over the weekend. When I went down to Fort Lauderdale. Every intersection has a panhandler homeless guy on it in Broward, not in Palm Beach.
Exactly. It depends where you live. It's a local problem when the liberals take over the local governments.
Yeah.
Everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Why do liberals like homeless in the streets so much? I don't get that.
I can explain it to you if you're interested.
Yeah.
The liberals like the homeless because where there are liberal people vulnerable politically, in other words, people that think the poor are victims and want to subsidize their drug usage and give them clean needles so they don't get sick, poor babies, the typical liberal stuff. The people that are into that gravitate to the cities that have all these programs. It's a financial thing.
Oh.
So New York is getting a ton of income from Washington because they're a sanctuary city. That's why they hold on to the sanctuary city status.
You know, these guys are all running a racket. I was in Parkland Saturday, okay? And there was this panhandler, and this was on 441 and Hillsborough Boulevard, which is the borderline between Parkland and Coconut Creek. Okay, and you guys, these homeless people and panhandlers, some of them are like landmarks because they're there so much, right? So this guy, this is 441 and Hillsborough in the turning lane. Like if you're going into that super Walmart over there, guys, you guys will know this. And there's this panhandler. This guy's so fake, Steve. I've seen it. He used to panhandle up in Broward, but up in Palm Beach, but they run him off. He can't be up there. And I've seen this guy. Right. I've seen this guy around. So he walks around. He hunches over like a hunchback. He's wearing rags, and he walks around with a sign, of course, that says "God bless." He's a Christian, and he hobbles around like he's sick and in pain, and he's thanking and blessing everybody. He can hardly walk between the cars. The guy's so fake. I've seen him in Palm Beach walking around normal. He's in the same kind of shape that I'm in, and I see this guy, and he's faking the whole thing, and he's like, he can't even talk. Oh, I mean, he could speed walk past me, and I see somebody hand out cash. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't stand when I see people give cash out to these con men. Yeah, all right. Well, what's happened? England's lost. I don't think England can be saved, Steve. I'm not talking about the UK.
Well, they're well on the way. I mean, that was this whole article in the Post. And it was just sad. They showed the pictures of the homeless stacked up in doorways. And I used to think that was just an American phenomenon, but it's not.
When we were on our last cruise, I was hanging out at the bar with some of our cruisers, and we all have our MAGA gear on, and we met this couple from England, and they were asking about our MAGA gear and stuff, and they're conservatives in England, we found out. And they were talking about how there's a big homeless veteran problem in London, that the streets of London are filled with. And I was like, you're telling me that British Navy and British Army guys are living in the streets? They said, yeah. I said, what a disgrace.
These things are all international now.
Yeah.
These problems cover the world.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with the liberal mindset.
All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Oh, they hung up. They surrendered the call. But I guess. Oh my goodness. I want to tell people quickly about Coastal Weight Loss Secrets. So I'm heading over to American Eagle Outfitters this week to get some new jeans, some MAGA jeans, courtesy of Sydney Sweeney's ad campaign. Now that we find out she's MAGA and a Trump supporter, Sydney Sweeney, which is makes me want to get the American Eagle jeans even more. But I have dropped several jean sizes. My waist is several inches smaller than it used to be. I don't know what size I wear yet. I'll find out. They'll measure me and I'll find out. But I'm in this maintaining phase now. I lost all the weight I want to lose and more. I'm at the weight I was at when I got married 29 years ago. And this is enough. This is where I want to stay. So maintaining, it's so easy, Steve, because I didn't have any lifestyle changes when I was losing, right? I ate foods I would normally eat. I didn't starve myself. I didn't exercise, and no prescription medication. So the maintaining phase is so easy. Yeah. I'll never gain the weight back. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, and they can help you no matter where you are in the United States. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to put you on hold so I can get William Youngerman.
Okay.
Bruce, if you don't mind, don't stop telling people where I'm at all the time. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate that. Hey, it's Brian. Hold on. Well, maybe it wasn't you, Bruce. Maybe it was somebody else. Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to conference William. And okay, hold on. All right, William, we have about 20 seconds.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you, Steve.
Yep.
Got you both. All right, we are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the first gold and precious metals report of the new week. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metals looking pretty stable after Friday's big gains. The market on Friday closing in a range of $3,280 on the low, all the way up to $3,364 on the high, and closing out on the highs up $73 on Friday at $3,361.50. Silver closed up 33 cents last week at $36.96 the ounce, while platinum gained $28 at $1,315, and palladium was up $12 at $12.08. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $33.45 on the low, all the way up to $33.72. And right now, we're pretty much unchanged at $33.61.50. Silver up 18 cents right now at $37.14 the ounce. Platinum down $5 at $1,310, and palladium down $25 at $11.83. So nice gains, recovering from the lows last week that we had a pullback on different kinds of news stories coming out, and then a big rally on Friday. Gold getting down on the week last week as low as about $3,280. But then recovering nicely. So the markets are still very stable, and for the most part trading in the same range as we've seen them in for most of the summer so far. So the spring is being wound very tightly on the longer it stays in these ranges. And that means when we finally break out of these ranges, the gains or losses could be substantial.
Yeah, well, things are looking good. And William Youngerman, you can do your business no matter where you're located in the United States or the world for that matter with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number, toll free, 800-327-5010, 800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, take care. All right, the phones are ringing off the hook. Hold on a second here. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. All right, our number, 888-465-2631. A couple things, though, I wanted to mention before we take some more calls. I don't know if you've noticed this. I tell you, this media, there's a lot of media coverage about J.D. Vance being the nominee in 2028. And there's the lead story in the Daily Mail this morning is about that.
Yeah, they've been pushing it lately.
Yeah, and there's a reason why they're doing this. They're in a panic over Trump running for re-election in 2028, and they're trying to do a couple of things. One, they're trying to split JD and Trump apart. They're trying to cause friction, like with DeSantis and Trump. They're trying to cause friction between JD and the president, like he's running. And two, they're trying to put Trump in this lame duck perception. And everything they do in the media is fake, okay? They're trying to make it, they want to try to present Trump as a lame duck, like, okay, well, JD's coming in next, so he's in charge now, to undermine him. President Trump is having so many wins. I mean, he's a rock star. They said on CNN over the weekend that he is the most popular and accomplished president of the last 100 years, maybe even longer, according to their, because you see everything that he's doing. And a lot of things are happening. But I'll tell you, Tucker Carlson may be at the beginning of a big fall. Have you seen any of the stuff with Tucker?
No, I'm anxious to hear it.
Okay. You're not going to see it on Fox because they're not going to cover Tucker on Fox. Okay, just because you know why. Okay, he did an interview on his online show with Candace Owens late last week, and it was a pretty much non-eventful interview. And then he dropped something about himself at the end, and it almost got lost in the interview because once Candace Owens heard Tucker talking about something other than her, she went in a panic and tried to turn the discussion back into her, right? But Tucker Carlson, he's said a couple of things, and then it has started something in Trump's orbit. You've heard of Nick Fuentes. He's that young racist white supremacist that hangs out with Kanye. Ever heard of him, Steve?
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes?
familiar.
I don't follow Nick Fuentes. I've never paid too much attention to him. He seems kind of like a clown to me. But he did he caused some negative publicity for the president during the campaign. They say he's a white supremacist. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but he hangs out with Kanye West. And I don't know, do white supremacists normally hang out with black people? I don't, don't know. But remember, Kanye showed up unannounced at Mar-a-Lago. Trump let him in for lunch, and he had Nick Fuentes with him. And then, of course, the press, Trump had lunch with a white supremacist. Trump didn't know who he was, right? And Kanye was a friend at one time, so he let him in. So Tucker Carlson is interviewing Candace Owens about herself. And there's been a big development with her, which I don't know if I want to mention right now. But then all of a sudden, Tucker Carlson says Nick Fuentes is a Fed. And by Fed, that means, to me, when I hear someone accuse someone of being a Fed, that means FBI. I don't know. What does that mean that to you, Steve? When someone says they're a Fed, that means an FBI guy?
I suppose.
And what Tucker said is he announced on his show, this is why he says Nick Fuentes is a Fed. And this will go full circle with guys. He said he went on the air and said my father was in the CIA. And I did not know my dad was in the CIA until he died in March. And first off, I don't believe that because we know for a fact that Tucker tried to join the CIA, and they say he didn't get in. Who tries to join the CIA, and their dad just coincidentally happens to be in the CIA? And his father used to run Voice of America and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which was just shut down by the president, Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But when he said this, when Tucker Carlson said that his dad was in the CIA, he didn't say the CIA, he said CIA. And when we're talking about the CIA, we say the CIA. When people say CIA without the, they're usually in the CIA. So anyway, where am I going with this? This will make sense.
I'd really like to know.
Last night, Laura Loomer, yesterday afternoon, Laura Loomer, she posted on X. She says, do you think I should post some information about Tucker that would destroy his career? And of course, everybody says, yes. Then a couple hours later, she dropped a ton of information about Tucker Carlson. None of it was good if you support Trump and you're a Republican. I'll tell you in just a minute. And I mean a lot. And it was so much. I was right as I was going to bed. I didn't even finish reading it. She dropped so much on these threads on X. And yesterday, when the president was on the tarmac next to Marine One, he had a little bit of a press conference. And I played a clip from the press conference earlier. It's when they asked him about Sydney Sweeney being a Republican, and he commented on it. He's like, oh, that's great. I like her ad. Yeah, it was that press conference. They asked him about Loomer. about Laura Loomer. And this was after this Tucker stuff. He said, she's a patriot. She's great. She's a great patriot. She's passionate, and she's passionate because she's a patriot. I mean, he was just going on and on. So what Laura Loomer dropped, and a lot of very detailed stuff about Tucker, it involved the Hunter Biden laptop and how he was involved with suppressing it. And she goes into this story where she names the names of these people. When the laptop was dropping, the Hunter Biden laptop, right, which was the October surprise from the Trump camp. It was the first time Republicans ever had an October surprise in history. The October surprises are things the Democrats do, and Team Trump in that campaign, they had an October surprise. It was the laptop. When they had the hard drive from the laptop, they wanted to give it to Tucker. So Tucker set up a meeting with his executive producer for his Fox show and the campaign people that had the laptop. They gave him a copy of the entire hard drive from the Hunter Biden laptop. And Loomer goes into a very detailed explanation and walkthrough on how Tucker Carlson didn't cover the laptop and destroyed the laptop, made some claim that the copy they got was destroyed, and how he was a part of suppressing the laptop from hell story. And it was Steve, it must have been 2,000 words describing what he did. It was a very long thing she released about Tucker Carlson. And as close as she is with the president, and how the president was praising her, and I mean really going out of his way he called her a patriot at least twice out on that press conference next to Marine One yesterday. I'm thinking she's doing this in cooperation with Trump. That Trump is ticked off at Tucker about something, and they're exposing him. And
do you think all this stuff that goes on among the, I don't know what to call
the influencers?
Yeah. Do you think don't you get the feeling at a certain point it is counterproductive for Donald?
No, with most of them, yeah, right. But Laura Loomer is not an influencer. She may influence people, but I consider her to be an unofficial senior advisor to President Trump. And they have fired people inside the bureaucracy of the Trump administration because of her. And the last couple of weeks, a couple people have been fired. She's been vetting people.
Are you friendly with Laura Loomer?
Yeah. I don't talk to her. I don't talk to her about her relationship with Trump or anything. She's not going to tell me. You know. So.
No. I had a personal matter. I wanted to bring to her attention. Can you? You
want to see if she can get you the Trump autograph?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you after the show. But
Thank you.
But she's been doing all this stuff for Trump, and Trump was praising her so much yesterday. I'm wondering if Trump is ticked at Tucker, because this unloading of information she dropped on Tucker yesterday was pretty devastating. It was about how he was undermining Trump's re-election campaign. Really, is what it was. That he was part of the group that was suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop. And I was very surprised at it, especially at how specific how did she get such specific information? It's like the information that she released on Tucker with the laptop suppression was inside information. It was so detailed. So I'm wondering if he's...
for Tucker, and the more distance people put between themselves and Tucker, the better for Donald.
Yeah, something's going on. Well, listen, I just looked at the clock. I lost track of time. The show's about over. We only have about 30 seconds left. So those of you on hold, my apologies that we didn't get to you. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. 49 years, Steve. Oh, my goodness. Did they have radios then? Did you come on before or after the Fireside Chats with FDR? I don't know. All right. It's been a great Monday. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Hang in there, guys. God bless America. And, of course, God bless the greatest president we've ever had, Donald Trump. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right. We are clear. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subbed, like the video. What do you guys think? Do you think that Tucker's on the outs with Trump? Why do you? That's some pretty hardcore stuff she released. What do you guys think? I think it was pretty brutal. Did any of you read the threads in her Twitter feed? Hold on, let me see. Maybe I'll take a call or two if you want to call in. We'll see. Hello? Nope, they thought better of it. If you want to call in, you can for a moment. But to me, it looked like he's on the outs with Trump. I just don't think she would go. She dropped all that stuff, and then Trump's praising her like that yesterday. I mean, really praising her. It just seems like there's a coordination to me. Well, anyway, listen, guys, I got to take off because I got a lot to do. I'll have a new podcast this afternoon, which, of course, I do live here, so keep an eye out for that. And click the notification bell. I do take calls on the podcast, too. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care. I'll see you later on the podcast.